And then finally this family started getting more and more into deen and very devoted to the deen. SubhanAllah, we can see that how people who came into Islam, they were not there from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when they came, they wanted to make up for their past. And therefore they worked harder than those who were born in it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses people not according to their backgrounds, according to the zeal and their sincerity and their effort for the deen of Allah. The doors are not closed for any person. Imam Bukhari's father, Ismail, was a businessman, but at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a quality. The quality was of loving the ulama. He used to keep a very close connection with the scholars. And we can see, as we will study the life of Imam Bukhari, we'll see that this was something that brought that major change into this family. As he loved the ulama, so of course in those days, everyone who is connected to that field, to the ulama, to the scholars of Islam, he learns the hadith, he memorizes the hadith. So therefore, his father Ismail, he learned some hadith from Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayh, and another great scholar whose name was Hammad ibn Zayd. In those days, it was known that there are 4 great muhaddithin in the world, in the whole Islamic world, and one of them was Hammad bin Zayd. So Imam Bukhari's father studied hadith from Hammad ibn Zayd and from Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayh. But not to become a scholar, just a businessman who's interested in knowing the deen, and he loves deen, so he would like to study. So he went to these scholars and he learned. Then he kept a very close connection with another scholar that was in Bukhara, in his own hometown. His name was Abu Hafs al-Kabir. Abu Hafs al-Kabir was the student of Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad rahimahumullah, who both of them were the students of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. So he, Ibrahim was very, Ismail, the father of Imam Bukhari, was very closely connected to Abu Hafs al-Kabir. Subhanallah, it so happened that this great man, Ismail, when he had his second son, who he named him Muhammad, that was Imam Bukhari, he passed away right after the birth of his second son, Muhammad. Before he passed away, he made a will to his close friend, now, that person, the great scholar of Bukhara, Abu Hafs al-Kabir. He made a will to him that I would like my son to follow your steps. So please, it looks like these are the last days of my life. If I die, make sure that you get my son to learn the way that you would love it for your own people. Take care of my son and his education. And then he told him one more thing that indicates how great of a man he was. He says, every penny that I'm leaving for my son and for my family, there isn't a single penny of haram in it. And not just of haram, there isn't a single penny that is doubtful in my wealth. I never fed my family, my children, anything of haram or anything that was doubtful. Subhanallah. Look how people were raising their children and their families. And the reason he's mentioning this, that in future I would like this to continue in my family. Nothing of haram or nothing doubtful should get into this house. And he passed away. Abu Hafs al-Kabir, of course, according to the will of his friend, he started taking care of this young boy Muhammad so that he will learn and memorize Quran. That was the first step. They used to get into once the child is able to learn, the first thing they used to do is make the child memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Bukhari Rahimahullah, as he started memorizing Quran, within that time, he became blind. He lost his eyesight. Now, everyone lost hope that this boy, whom we hope that we will make him be something, so that we will remember his father and we fulfill the will of his father, now he's blind, so we can do nothing about it. Yes, memorization of Quran can continue because he can just listen and memorize the Quran. And there are people who can just keep on reading to him, so he can just listen to that and memorize it. But after that, there is nothing we can do for him. Subhanallah, his mother. And we have seen the situation of a father with his taqwa, with his zuhd, not bringing anything doubtful, any haram into that house. How he's raising the family. And of course, this doesn't happen if the other half of the family is not accepting these things. When we thought that the man was living that type of life, it's not only that half, it's the other part of it also. If the other half of the family is not willing to accept this, if the wife is not willing to go with that type of lifestyle, it's impossible to run that house in that manner. So of course, we see the other side also, there is zuhd, there is taqwa, there is iman. She kept on making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every night she is up to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she continued making dua for almost 6 years. Almost 6 years. This single mother, she gets up and she makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She never gave up. She never lost hope. She continued making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day she sees a dream. In her dream she saw Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam telling her that, look, I'm wiping my hand over the face of your son, and now just get up, because he's getting his eyesight back, as I'm going to wipe my hand over his face. As she saw the dream, she woke up. She went and woke her son up to see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has returned his eyesight back to her. Right away she says to her son, son, I begged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of these years to give you the eyesight back, not for you to earn and bring me any food. I'll take care of that part. I'll keep on working and do whatever I can to take care of your needs. Now what I like you to do is go and start memorizing the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Imam Bukhari Rahimahullah started memorizing the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Initially he's learning the basic things about the Sharia, the basic rulings of Sharia, as it is the normal steps in learning the hadith. But as he was memorizing the Quran and then in the process of learning the basics of hadith and basics of fiqh and other rulings of the Sharia, he used to just go and sit in his free times, sit in the gatherings of the muhaddiseen. As they would narrate the hadith, he would just sit over there and listen to the hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a memory that just by listening to these muhaddiseen, he started memorizing the hadith. He himself narrates that I was only 11 years old. There was a great muhaddis in Bukhara whose name was Muhaddis al-Dakhili. One day he's sitting in the gathering of Muhaddis Dakhili. This 11-year-old boy is sitting in that gathering, and Muhaddis Dakhili narrates a hadith. حدثنا سفيان عن أبي الزبير عن إبراهيم. Sufyan has narrated this hadith to me, and he heard it from Abu Zubayr, and Abu Zubayr heard it from Ibrahim. This young Muhammad gets up to tell his teacher, to tell that muhaddis, excuse me, the chain that you're narrating, there is a mistake in it.